Hey Guardians, Ginger Prime here, and welcome to another video, Soul Nation. We've got a lot to talk about as it relates to the state of PvP in the world of Destiny 2. If you guys haven't been following, or this hopefully is some good news for you, Bungie has started taking legal and different actions against various hacks, aimbots, and other methods and tools that cheaters, let's just call them what they are, use to hack and to get an advantage in the world of Destiny 2, especially as it relates to PvP. This is no more evident in the world of Trials, where even some of the top players in the world recommend that if you really want to try and have a premier Trials experience, it might be best to try and play that on a console, which is unfortunate because once you go to 60 frames plus, it's really hard to scale back into that 30 frames a second world. I don't know why that is, just ultimately I have a better and much more enjoyable experience. Maybe that's just me, but that's just my personal bias. That's why one of the reasons I'm really thrilled for gamers to get their hands on this game for the Series X and S as well as the PS5 here in just a few weeks. Like, honestly, I hope that you're able to get one, and I hope that if you're a fan of Destiny 2, you're going to have a great experience. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it. So once that does happen, be sure to let me know, because I just can't wait to see what you guys think about that world, having kind of the best of, or at least that 60 frames per second, and also living in a mostly cheat-free world. Hopefully it'll be good. But I want to sit down today because I've spent some time playing PvP since they have made this change, and I've been doing so on the PC client. I usually play through GeForce Now. When I say usually, 100% of the time outside of Stadia. Those are my kind of platforms of choice. I play with a controller, and I usually average anywhere from a 1.5 to a 2.5 KDA in most games. Sometimes I go on a tear, and sometimes I don't. I'm not the world's best PvP player, but I can tell you hands down, obviously listening to all the podcasts, obviously being a part of this community, I haven't really wanted to do PvP on GeForce Now. And it's not because there's any kind of lag or any kind of disadvantage that I have as a player. It's literally because there's just sometimes you get shot and you're like, how in the living, I don't know, traveler did this even come to be? Like, that is an impossible shot. There's no way that happened. And obviously, like, there could be an argument for lag, right? That can always be that argument within the world, and I'll obviously take any kind of feedback and critique in that regards. But having seen the actions that Bungie has been taking, and having seen some of the tweets and conversations about different cheaters being frustrated that they no longer have access to these things within the world of Destiny 2, brings a little bit of joy to my heart. Now, I've seen a couple of people tweet, and I've seen some conversations we've had on Twitter, and it's really fascinating because ultimately you're not going to end up finding it's just too funny that the cheaters are they're just going to move on. Like, you're not going to, this isn't going to be some kind of hunting game in which we're just tracking down all the cheaters and you could see their KDAs drop dramatically. That's actually what I was originally thinking. I was like, well, it might be easy now to know who's cheating, because if all of a sudden you're pulling off a 5, 6, 8 KDA per game and now you can't break one, well, I guess we found our guilty parties. But I think essentially somebody kind of called it right. If they're not able to cheat in this game, they'll probably go find another game to cheat in, because that's, they don't care. Like, that's just the way it is. Now, if you're one of them and you do care and you want to have a conversation about it, sound off in the comments below. I'm always interested in hearing other thoughts and other perspectives than my own. It's always an open forum here at Ginger Prime, and so that's kind of what this is about. Anyhow, so been living a little bit in the PvP world on GeForce Now, and I have to say, it feels way more balanced. It feels way more, I guess, open, and I still perform how I would expect myself to perform. However, I don't feel like there's these moments of just incredible chaos. Obviously, I might have just been lucky. Obviously, with the fact they got rid of skill-based matchmaking, there's still times where games can kind of run away one way or the other in favor of kind of a 20-point plus spread. But at the core of it, I am really enjoying my experience. It does feel like it's safe to wade back into the water. A couple of people asked me this on Twitter, like, hey, Brian, is it safe to come back into PvP on on PC? And I could say, you know what, honestly, the best thing you can do for yourself right now is give it a shot. Just log in, play a couple rounds. I probably would tell you this, if you haven't done it in a while, your first round, at least first half of your round, you might be a little a little stiff, a little rough around the edges. So don't judge it based off of your first round. Judge it based off of your whole experience. But it's really quite awesome. Like, it just feels, I don't know, it feels like it's fair. And it obviously there'll still be reign of cheaters. Obviously there's still going to be things that we'll always have to work towards, that Bungie will have to work towards. But I can say that this as a player, that it does feel good, hands down, that they're taking a stand, that they're making progress in this area. And I wish them all the best of luck. As when it comes down to programming and video games, it is not an easy business. It is not an easy thing to do. We tend to give, and at least give the thoughts that, oh, it's easy. They should just do X and it solves the problem. So in this case, as opposed to like some kind of tracking mechanism within the game itself, they're taking legal action against the companies who are selling these products. I think essentially when it comes down to the letter of the law, it might be that they can only come against you if you're actually profiting off this, which will drive people away from making these kind of products. But it's going to be interesting to see if you end up just kind of seeing the cheaters return, if it ends up just kind of going free or open source. Like, hey, everybody's kind of made their own little, their bot. So it's going to be something that I think is an ever-winning, or not ever-winning, an ever-present battle. But it's good for me as a player to see kind of Bungie take a stand. Having continued to be a part of this community, kind of always listening to the different podcasts each week, and hearing that frustration, hearing that, well, I was doing okay, and then you gotta, and then that pushes more people into cheating. And here's what I mean by that. It pushes more people into that. If you're really trying to achieve it, if the only option is to break terms of service to achieve the goal that you have, because other people, it ends up becoming this standard norm. We've seen this happen in the world of Final Fantasy XI a lot. Like, it became a thing, and especially in 14. Like, don't talk about it in game. It's a fact of the life. It's a fact of the game. And in reality, it doesn't have to be. It just is a matter of well, how do we go about addressing this? Anyway, those are just my random thoughts, these musings overall about the state of PvP. I think it's definitely, if you're a PvPer like myself, somebody who really enjoys the content, I think this is going to be good to see. This will also help in the long run with Destiny as a product, as a life, as a service, especially as they move towards crossplay in 2021. And so if you're not playing it and if you're thinking about jumping in and you like PvP, this could be a really fun game for you. And if GeForce Now or Stadia or Xbox Series X or S or PlayStation 5 ends up being your entry point, I think you're going to have a really good experience. That's my hope, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know in the comments below if you hit that like button. And if for some reason this is a video that gets you to subscribe to the channel, I hope you hit that subscribe button and tell me as well, so I can welcome you officially to the Soul Nation. But I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks again for listening. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. This video is sponsored by me, Ginger Prime. Hopefully you'll check out my podcast channel, Ginger Gaming Radio, which we have lots of guests, lots of great conversations, and even more highlights. Links are in the description below. Let me know what you think. Thanks.